everybody, really pleased to be able to join you this morning to share some wellbeing tips with you, specifically around sleep. So just to introduce myself, my name is Sherry Werner. I'm owner and Reiki therapist at Seven Jewels Therapies, and I'm really passionate about wellbeing. I worked in the city with a large international law firm for the last 5 years, and before that at another law firm for 8 years in the HR team. So wellbeing was a big part of my job, and something that I really enjoyed was helping other people to overcome some of the stresses and anxieties that go with having a really high flying and challenging job. And so this year I decided that I wanted to do this full time. So I started a complementary therapy practice, and what a year to start your own business. Not the greatest year to choose, but there you go. So I'm still doing it, and I'm seeing clients at my practice, which is in Ifield in Crawley. So I'm here to, I'm a mum and a stepmum, by the way, so, really important that you know that I've also lived through having a small baby, and know what it's like to have a sleepless night and to feel that sort of brain fog and that kind of feeling of nausea and not being able to concentrate. Someone once described it to me as being like being drunk, but without having had any of the fun. And I think, it's true that lack of sleep makes it really difficult to concentrate. It makes it difficult to make decisions. It becomes more likely that you will have an accident. And although the odd sleepless night is nothing to really worry about, over time, a lack of sleep, sleep deprivation over the long haul can affect your overall health and make you prone to serious illnesses such as heart disease and diabetes. So sleep is really one of the cornerstones of self-care. If you can remember the acronym SHED, this stands for sleep, headspace, exercise and diet. And they are really the 4 main foundations of well-being. So if you get all those in place, which is really hard to do when you're a new mum or you're an expectant mum, if you're aware of those 4 different things, you can be mindful about how you try to balance out things so that you are incorporating those aspects of well-being into your life. So first of all, I want to tell you that you should get serious about your sleep. Raising a child is seriously demanding on your physical, emotional and mental health. And as Katie said in her live on Tuesday, feeding a baby is almost equivalent in hours, let alone in energy, to a full-time job. So I want you to tell you to take your sleep, what I call sleep hygiene, extremely seriously. This means being mindful about your self-care around sleep, because it will have a big knock-on effect on how you go about your day and how you feel over the long term as well. Okay, so sleep is not just about what happens when you get into bed. What you do in the daytime is all leading up to and feeding into your sleep that night. So that's what I mean by taking a holistic approach to sleep. It's about thinking about what we do during the day that's either going to promote or detract from a good night's sleep that evening. So these tips cover how you can bring awareness into your daily activities so that you can optimise your sleep. First of all though, before I really get into the tips, I want to reinforce what Katie said about taking naps if you're not looking after other children, and sleep when your baby sleeps. Don't worry about housework, etc. And I can say this with the benefit of hindsight, because my daughter's all grown up now, but I was probably guilty of feeling very guilty if I didn't keep up with housework or domestic things, or maybe even things like seeing your friends. When you are looking after a newborn or a toddler, it can become all-consuming, and it's really important just to take those self-care moments that you can and sleep and nap when the baby is asleep, and not think, oh, I've got to put a wash on, or I've got to tackle that washing up. it's much more important for you to sleep. And also, if you're offered help so that you can rest, accept it. This is not a time for guilt or shame or trying to do it all. Also, I would say if you can't nod off when the baby is asleep, so maybe you're a little bit too wired or you've had too much coffee, and I'll get onto that in a minute, instead do something for yourself. Like Naomi said the other day in her 10-minute takeover, read, watch your favourite programme, listen to something relaxing or amusing. If you can, have a bath if you haven't been able to do that today. Phone a supportive friend. So make sure that you are doing something that's just for you and resting during those times when the baby is asleep. Okay, so coming on to some of the more kind of practical tips that you can do for yourself in terms of holistic self-care. Try and exercise every day. That's so important, because exercise not only releases the feel-good chemicals, the endorphins, but it helps you to reconnect to your body, and it helps you to respect your body, and that has a kind of filtering effect through the rest of your activities. If you can respect and connect with your body, you'll be more mindful of what you're doing to your body throughout the whole of your kind of daily life. So it doesn't have to be a full-blown trip to the gym or an epic run that we're suggesting. It could be as simple as a 20-minute walk with or without the baby or the toddler. It could be an online exercise video. They're really good if you've only got a short amount of time, because it means you don't have to travel anywhere, you don't have to worry about babysitting, you don't have to worry about the travel time or getting changed or anything. All you have to do is show up in your own living room, stick on a video. And during lockdown, I found yoga with Adrienne was really amazing, because she does these very short, simple sequences that are suitable for all levels and beginners. And she's really sweet and kind, and so there's no kind of judgment there. No one's looking at you, and she does these videos that are kind of geared up towards all sort of aspects of the human condition. So she covers things like yoga for sore backs and shoulders, yoga for stress and anxiety. So she can be a real sort of friend, a kind of remote friend to new mums when you just need a little bit of time to stretch out your body and reconnect to your body. So I'd really recommend her yoga with Adrienne. As far as eating and drinking are concerned, don't drink caffeinated drinks. I would say after 2 p.m. Now, I'm very sensitive to caffeine, so I don't drink caffeinated drinks at all after 2. So you may be different, but try and test just stopping drinking caffeinated drinks a little bit earlier in the day and see how that affects your sleep. Caffeine in the afternoon or the evening will keep you awake at night. It's best to replace it with herbal tea or water. Cutting out caffeine will help you to become sleepy earlier and will mean that you go to bed more naturally at your natural bedtime for your body. That's when you're most likely to get deep and restorative sleep. If you're going to bed before midnight, as soon as you go to bed, the more likely it is that you'll be sleeping at the same time your child is sleeping and having a really deep, restful sleep for at least a couple of hours. And I also want to just to say a few words about alcohol. So I'm not judgy about alcohol at all. I've had times when I've turned to drink to wind down, and I think it's quite normal and quite accepted in our society, and quite a lot of people do it. And it's kind of a way that we have to reward ourselves for all the challenges that we've managed to overcome that day, to kind of get into our minds that we want to wind down for bed. But actually, having a drink to wind down is counterproductive. It, as far as sleep is concerned, it will disrupt your sleep. It will make you dehydrated. It will leave you grumpy and moody. It's, as speaking from as a Reiki therapist, it's a sort of low vibe. Alcohol is a depressant, so it will bring you down. And not to mention how hard it is having a hangover when you're looking after a baby or a toddler. It's something that you really want to avoid. So I would just try and be mindful about how much alcohol you're consuming during this time. And there's lots of things online, there's lots of support online about how to cut back on your drinking or how to drink more mindfully, which is what I try and do now. So I haven't cut out alcohol completely, but I do try to be much more mindful about why I'm having a drink and when, and that really helps too with your overall well-being. Eat well to sleep well, so have lots of veg, lots of complex carbs, protein. Try to cut back a bit on sugar. So sugar will upset your blood sugar levels, which will disrupt your sleep, make your body kind of, it will wreak havoc with your body if you're having too much sugar. So the best thing to try and balance things out is just to cut back a little bit on sugar where you can. Don't eat food that is too heavy, rich, spicy or citrusy towards the later evening, because it will sit on your stomach and you'll go to bed without having digested it properly, and you'll get heartburn, and that will keep you awake. So try to finish eating about 2 hours before you plan to go to bed. I know that can be really hard when you've had a busy day and you want to sort of eat a bit later on, perhaps after the children have gone to bed. But just be mindful of what you're eating at that time, and that may be disruptive to your sleep. Food's good for sleep, so if you want a snack before you go to bed, foods that are good to promote sleep are bananas, almonds, milk, whole grain cereals and Marmite. So a whole grain piece of toast with some Marmite might be a really good snack for you just before you go to bed. If you can, plan or prepare your food in advance so that you don't make bad choices when you're tired or you don't have time. So try to be a little bit mindful about what you're going to eat and when you eat it and how you eat it, and that should help with your sleep as well. And finally, I want to talk about preparing for sleep. So aim to go to bed at the same time each night, including weekends, so your body gets habituated to sleeping at a certain time. Aim to get your baby or toddler to bed at the same time each night as well, so the same time as for them, so that they don't encroach on your evening. Because I think it's really tempting when you've had a busy day with your little one and they've gone to bed a bit later than normal, so you then stay up a bit later, because even though you're really tired, because you want to have some adult time in the evening. So if you can try as much as you can to keep your bedtime the same, go to bed before 10:30, and keep the bedtime for baby or toddler consistent as well. Turn off your screens, and this is not going to be a very popular one or a very easy one, but turn off your screens 30 minutes to 1 hour before bed. See how you feel with less screen time late at night. I promise you'll start to feel the benefits quite quickly if you can do it. Have your phone on silent at night and try to avoid having other electronic equipment in the bedroom. Don't watch TV in bed. Instead, read, meditate, or perhaps listen to a sleep app like Calm, which is really good for helping you to drift off to sleep. If you do go to sleep okay, but then you wake up at night, you might find listening to Calm helps you drift back off. Or you could try a relaxation technique, such as progressive muscle relaxation, where you tense and then relax each muscle group, starting in your face, and then you work down your body. And that helps you to be very mindful of your body and to kind of enjoy that relaxation feeling, helps you get off to sleep. It's quite effective. If you're still awake after 20 minutes, you might want to get up, go into another room and read or listen to something relaxing. So there's nothing worse than laying in bed knowing you're wide awake and then your mind starts racing. It's sometimes good just to get up and go into a room with a low lit atmosphere and kind of rest somewhere else instead. Try to make your bedroom as conducive to sleep as possible. Your body and mind will need to find it relaxing, so both your body and your mind. Make sure it is dark enough and keep it on the cool side, so 16 to 18 degrees centigrade is recommended. Get an eye mask if your room is not dark enough. Try to keep your room just for sleep and other bedroom activities. So not for eating and not for working or watching TV. If you or a partner snore, and I know how disruptive it is when someone snores, especially if you've been up to look after the baby and then you try and get back in and your partner's back into bed and your partner's in deep sleep and snoring. Really hard. But take it seriously. Speak to a GP about solutions. To help your mind relax before bed, spend a few minutes writing down any worries or thoughts that you've got about the next day or longer term. Write down 3 good things that happened that day. So journaling and gratitude are really, really helpful to put you into a positive mindset before bed. That will help your mind to switch off and to relax. Aim to find mindful moments during the day. If you don't meditate, please consider exploring that. There are so many benefits. A calm mind and a good night's sleep are just two. Even a couple of minutes of meditation during the day will help you remain calm and keep perspective. And something like mindfulness. So mindfulness can sound a bit, I think it can be something that maybe feels a bit out of reach or can't really relate to it. But if you think of the mindful moment that you might have with your baby when they're feeding, that's just a natural mindful moment when you're taking in everything about them, you're fully immersed in what's going on. Try to kind of think of other ways that you can bring mindfulness into your day, because that will really help you to be present, to calm your body down. And the calmer you are during the day, the more likely it is that you will have a good night's sleep and will take care of yourself. And I just want to finish up, so I know I've gone on a bit long, by saying if you do have disturbed sleep for a prolonged period and you don't have an infant, then please go to the GP to rule out anything physical. You may need some emotional support as well if you are sleepless because you're anxious or depressed, and ask for time out from loved ones specifically for you to sleep, and use that time to sleep. So just a little bit about me and Reiki, just to finish off. I'm a Reiki therapist, as I said, and I see all different types of clients, including pregnant women, busy mums, and people managing long-term health conditions. Reiki is a relaxing therapy. It's very gentle and passive. Basically, you lie down on a massage couch, fully clothed. You don't have to do anything or say anything. During that time, I work to balance your energy. And during that time, your body enters into a sort of rest and digest state, which allows you to begin the healing and recharging process. And Reiki is incredibly good for sleep. So most of my clients have some kind of problem with sleep, and often they report that after a Reiki session, they've had a really good night's deep sleep, which is very restorative for them as well. So I would like to offer this group a 50% discount in October off any Reiki treatment. So you can have a Reiki treatment with me for £15 an hour at my therapy practice in Ifield in Crawley. All the details are on my website, and I'm sure Katie will be able to point you in the right direction as well. So my business is called 7 Jules Therapies, and you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and on the website, which is 7julestherapies.co.uk. So I'd like to say thank you very much. Thanks, Katie, for letting me speak today, and I hope you found some of this useful. It's often just small tweaks that we need to make, and not everything that I've said will be applicable to everybody, but hopefully you could take some things away that will apply to you and that will help you to get a better night's sleep. Okay, thank you. Bye.